Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Time now is 1:05 p.m. on February 1, 2025. Welcome everyone to February. We'll go ahead and get attendance and roll call out of the way. Councilor Vargas.
Present.
And Councilor Orlikoff. And I am Councilor Lamont. We are all present, so we can proceed with our meeting, our February meeting of the 14th Police District Council. Okay, we're going to delay the public comment. We're going to kind of put it on the back end of the meeting here. First things first, we'll go ahead and look over the minutes from January, which we all have a copy in front of us with the purple highlight on the page. These were provided, by the way, by Charles Blackwell, our substitute staff member. We appreciate you coming out here and supporting us, Mr. Blackwell. So, any objections, please say so. Mr. Blackwell? Yeah, we're gonna get to the next step. So you want to do it now? Okay, so, we're looking in order to you.
I suppose, since I wasn't in attendance.
So can I get a motion to approve the minutes as reported?
Motion to approve.
Can I get a second? Is that the second?
You can do it.
I'm the chair. I can't present or second the motion.
Yes, you can. So it's Robert's rules for bodies of under 900.
I motion and second.
All right, without objections, we'll go ahead and approve the January 4, 2025 meeting minutes. They have been approved as submitted. Okay, moving on into our stack of quarterly and annual meetings. Got March 24, 2024, which was a quarterly meeting. We have June 5, 2024, which is also a quarterly meeting. September 23rd, 2024, which is also a quarterly meeting. And November 16, 2024, which was our annual meeting. I've taken the time to look over these myself. I'll await any objections to the minutes of each as they are submitted.
For June 5th, number 2, I think they should list the proposals.
Okay. Anything else? It's a lively part of the meeting, I understand. If bear with us, we'll get there.
Same for September 28.5. September 16th, 4H. I would strike for low-level violations. The full title was significantly longer, but I think shortening it there is clear.
So you wanna remove 4 low-level violations?
Yeah, so it's just indiscriminatory pretextual traffic stops.
Okay.
To be a pretty short one, thank you.
All right, so just to make certain we've got all the corrections, on the June 5, 2024, under Part 2, District Councilors heard 6 proposals from all District Councilors to consider amplifying as priorities at the end of 2024, and you want to list those individual proposals thereafter.
Yes, sir.
And the same note is to be made on September 28th, 2024, under Bullet 5, we're talking about the District Council goals in 2025.
Yes.
And on the November 2nd, item H, you want to just omit the words "for low-level violations."
Correct.
All right, do we have with those amendments submitted, do we have any discussion on those items?
Looks good.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And can I get a second?
A second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. And I'll make certain that Mr. Blackwell gets a copy of those edits and they get changed accordingly. All right, let's go ahead and get into our district council updates. Since we got the minutes all taken care of the meeting minutes, so those are all done. District council updates. Councilor Orlikoff, do you have anything for us?
I think I'd prefer to give my update after public comment.
Okay. All right, Councilman Vargas, do you have any updates? I'm not sure.
Sure. So I guess my updates, the 14th District Council endorsed the Know Your Rights workshop that happened last week, Tuesday. And it was well attended, 52 people in person and 250 people virtually. And it goes to show that some people may be scared to show up in person, and these virtual options are essential for community safety and for our immigrant communities to know their rights and to be sure that they're safe out in the streets and inside their homes. And so with that, I want to invite people to go to their Know Your Rights workshops. There's one around. And if you're interested, I can give you that information and send you the link, especially for ICE Watch trainings. Those are going on as well. And this is how we keep each other safe. And another update would be back in September, our deputy chief was caught slashing tires during the Puerto Rican parade. This was videographed, and so we got a new deputy chief, and he got his new position in November, and it was a little challenging, but we were successful in getting a date for the commander to come out, including the new deputy chief, so we can get to know who the commander responds to and answers to. And this will happen March 4th. So the location is to be determined still, but this will be from 6 to 7. So I invite everybody to attend and develop your questions, send them to our district council emails. And I would like to collect questions today. And this would be for the commander and for her boss, the new deputy chief, Badencourt. So if y'all wanna talk to your neighbors and talk about what questions we wanna see on March 4th, so we can begin documenting it and beginning the process of collecting those questions so we can send it to the commander a week in advance. Do you wanna go?
So, what we'll do, by the way, is, sometime during the meeting, we're gonna take a 5-minute recess, so people can talk freely. That way it's off the record, it's not documented into the public space.
Well, I think it should be done.
Well, we'll get to that in just a second. But, so just to reiterate, what Councilor Vargas is talking about, we're gonna be moving our meeting, which is scheduled currently as Saturday, March 1, and we're gonna slide it to Tuesday, March 4. Location to be determined, and it's gonna be 6 p.m. is gonna be the start time for that. And we'll take all the time that we need to do that. More information on that's forthcoming, but we want to give everyone the opportunity to come up with substantive questions for both the commander and the new deputy chief, so that we are utilizing their time appropriately and accordingly. Yeah, we'll go ahead and call recess down. Can I get a motion to? Recess?
Just one quick thing I want to include in my updates. I'd like to send out a survey eventually in the future. So I think that the contact list that both Councilors Orlikov and Chris Laurent have should live in an Excel sheet to be city property. So if we can move forward with making that accessible to myself and to the entire council, it would be greatly appreciated. Okay, and we can go into recess.
Okay, so we got a motion for recess. Can I get a second?
Was to discuss questions for the
The commander and the deputy chief.
leadership.
Okay, we're taking a 5-minute recess. We'll re-adjourn at, we'll say 20 after.
How are you?
25 after.
So, first of all, they're real
All right, you guys return to order. All right, okay, we're gonna go ahead and get into public comment. We do have one that was submitted via email, which I'll go ahead and read. I'm tired.
Is that recording?
Yes. All right, so before we get into public comment, I'm gonna go ahead and read one that was submitted via email from Crystal Gardner. She writes, I am a lifelong Austin resident and community organizer. I met David during his 2023 campaign for Police District Council. We met in police reform in the abolitionist space. David was a radical leftist, and I truly appreciated his allyship. He was vocal, researched, and calling out right-wing, radical white men on behalf of the progressive movement, both online and in person. Then something happened. David turned his vitriolic hate onto the same communities he was elected to represent. He was pissing his allies off one by one, both online and in person. He was bold, loud, and erratic, as if he was experiencing manic episodes. He consistently targeted black and brown men and women, forcing his unhealthy white patriarchal mansplaining and verbal abuse onto us, reminding us all of why we do this social justice work. David's fellow elected police district councilors would even chime in, asking him to step back and apologize. Like in my online exchange with David, where I was called a Nazi, amongst other things, for defending black women. And then he blocks you. Such a coward move. I appreciated reading that David Orlikov was asked to resign. He should be immediately. He was successful in infiltrating and co-opting our movement with his true white supremacist values and rhetoric. He needs to be stopped, removed, and should never ever consider running for any public office until he seeks therapy and repair of all the harm he has caused. David, if you're listening, your time is up, buddy. Please go back to your protected community and never return to this space. You are a danger, disgrace, and a serious threat to black liberation. Thank you to all who have fought so hard to get us here. And that is, like I said, Ms. Crystal Gardner. We have it on the record there. Okay, do we have any other public comment? Yeah.
Yeah, I want to second what Crystal Gardner said and say, we're now at this point where, people from all across the union are asking you to step down. And, if you claim to represent the movement and everyone in the movement is turned against you, then you need to do some serious reflection as to your behavior. Your behavior thus far has been racist, misogynist, transphobic, and is the sharpest expression of white supremacy. And I don't consider you a friend. I don't consider you as part of this movement, and I think the movement would agree with me in that. And so we need you to step down immediately because your abuse has gone on for far too long.
Thank you for your comments.
Yes, one.
Yes, over here.
Hi, my name is Lorraine. I'm a community organizer. I'm here today to second the call for David Orlikoff to resign, because of how he's treated organizers and community members, and why this is important is because it's derailed the focus of this important work. Personally, he's cussed me out, calling me a psycho bitch repeatedly when I simply asked him why he felt okay yelling at a black organizer and friend of mine during a really intense organizing moment. This behavior is concerning and harmful, and it doesn't end there. I have a statement to read from a former partner of David's to further highlight his harmful behavior, none of which we have space for in this work, and I'll give a content warning right now. Quote, "My relationship with David Orlikoff ended in 2019, and I had hoped he would change. But recent reports confirm that his abusive behavior has not only continued, but worsened. David's abuse was primarily verbal, his favorite insult being worthless, which he repeated relentlessly between a variety of hateful slurs. When I tried to leave, he physically restrained me, spitting insults in my ear. If I pushed him away in desperation, he retaliated with violence, leaving handprint-shaped bruises on my back, arms, and buttocks, kicking me with steel-toed boots, and telling me I should end my life. I won't ever forget him saying to me, 'You better be dead when I get home.' He excused his actions as self-defense, with him at 6'2", and me an entire foot below that, while leading a so-called self-defense group. I am speaking out because his abuse didn't stop with me. His presence in public office endangers the very people he claims to serve. He must resign." End quote.
Thank you for your comments. Do we have any other public comments? Yes, ma'am.
I've prepared a statement as well, and I'd like to speak to David directly.
You mind if I get your name?
Oh, I'm Leslie.
Leslie,
Leslie
thank
May. David, I'm here today out of concern for your behavior and the impact it has on the people around you. There was a time when I considered you one of my best friends, and friends, even former friends, need to hold each other accountable when there's a problem. I learned from our friendship that you have a troubling pattern of taking out your anger on the people around you in a way that is abusive. And when I learned that this pattern is still going on here in your position on the Police District Council, I knew I had to say something because I know from experience how far this pattern can go. And for the benefit of the community, I think it's time for you to resign. We lived together in 2017 and 2018, and some of the abuse that was just described is what I witnessed. You used dehumanizing language on a daily basis. You screamed misogynistic slurs at your partner. You called her stupid and worthless, and you even told her to kill herself. And this verbal abuse quickly became physical. And for at least one particular occasion, I was home to see it when you kicked your partner in the ribs. When I asked her if she was safe in our home, she said no. And there were multiple complaints from neighbors, including 2 occasions when the police were called to our home. I don't bring this up to shame you, but to share some cautionary examples of where this behavior goes when it's left unchecked. Abuse doesn't just affect the immediate victims, it affects the entire community. And I'm concerned, I lost my place, I'm sorry. Okay, there's no mistaking that you do have a passion for justice. We all know that. But I'm concerned you're unable to use that passion effectively when your behavior disrupts the work that's happening here. And I can't help thinking it's a dangerous contradiction to have a person with an extensive and ongoing history of violence in a position for safety and accountability. Please resign immediately.
Thank you for your comments. Do we have any other public comments? Mr. Tucker.
My name is Justin Tucker. I've lived in the 14th district for about a quarter of my life. I joined Frank Chapman and many others in calling for the immediate resignation of David Orlikoff. If you've read Jim Daly's series of articles on this council in the Southside Weekly, you know David has been abusive to constituents, other electeds, leadership at the CCPSA, and allies and potential allies. He's a hindrance to this mission of the council and of the movement. He demands transparency from the police, but is an anti-transparency in practice. And he has, as an elected official, refused to answer the questions of whether the council is interrelated with IPOs and how the council associates officially with other groups. I demand an answer to these questions today. As for those in this room who have witnessed his abuse and defended him for a long time, what was the final straw? I think you guys are a little bit culpable in letting some of this abuse continue for so long. So I want to ask one more question I want answered today. Why is Frank Chapman calling for your resignation? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Take his name out your mouth.
Do we have any other public comments? Yes, Ms. Vogel.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Erin Vogel. I am a district counselor from Chicago's 9th Police District. I live in the Bridgeport area. And David, I am echoing the calls not only of the 18 other district counselors that signed your call for resignation, but the community who is showing up, both this meeting and last, to also call for your resignation. Your racist and misogynistic remarks and behavior are not in alignment with the abolitionist movement that you claim to be a part of. And I want you to take a moment to breathe and take a deep breath to listen to what I'm saying and to listen to the calls from what community has said. This is something ongoing, and I appreciate your work, especially ending pretextual traffic stops. But the cycle of harm that we've heard from other neighbors is continuing to perpetuate. And that's something that really requires you to pause and remove yourself from this situation where you can further harm done to community. So I truly hope that you're hearing what people are saying, know that this is coming from a very compassionate place. And I do hope that you get the healing that you need so that the community ceases to feel the harm. And hopefully someday we can find some sort of space of where you're taking accountability for your actions and the harm that you've created. So again, I hope that you feel this moment as a fellow abolitionist. This is what the movement calls for, is for us stepping up to stop this behavior. You call for accountability for the police, and I'm wondering where that is with you. So I really hope that you take moments to reflect on this and listen and act to what people are asking. That's it.
Thank you for your comments. Do we have any other public comments?
My name is Anthony Jimenez. I'm a district council member from the 17th district. Also one of the district councilors that signed on to the letter of the 18th district council. I guess I would just say we, all of the district councilors were charged with a near impossible task of holding the Chicago Police Department accountable. And it becomes a little more impossible when we have a district councilor who doesn't hold themselves accountable to the values and the morals that they ran on. We live in a city where on every level of government, our elected officials have a very strong history of abuse towards our neighbors and towards their constituents. And we have a really strong opportunity now to make sure that the office that we hold, we are all the inaugural office holders, to make sure that that very same abuse doesn't continue. And at a certain point, we have to realize that we are more of a hindrance to the movement that we are trying to do of holding police accountable and changing government to truly help people. And we have to reflect on some of these calls for your resignation, David. Because what I'm hearing today is it's very troubling, and it's very hard to hear as someone who would take your calls and who would ask you how you're going to vote this way, or do you have opinions on this matter, right? Those things are really hard for me to hear because I do believe that you have a lot of passion for this work, but we cannot call for accountability on another organization within our city when we will not hold ourselves accountable.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, do we have any other public comments that people would like to share? Yes.
Yeah, my name is Gabe Miller. David, I want to echo what others are saying and ask you to step down. I'm really concerned that other members of my community here in the 14th district have been harmed by you, and it's getting to the point where an overwhelming number of the movement forces that you once were a part of are asking you to do this, and so I want you to take that seriously and please step down.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
I have public comment, sent to me from a fellow district councilor from the 11th district. It's an audio file, so, let me just play it, out loud for everyone to hear.
David, I want to let you know that we all love you as a person. We think you're brilliant. You have done a lot of great work in this space. Nothing that we are telling you is personal. This is all about the work. One question that I want to ask you is if the shoe was on the other foot, meaning if there was another district councilor who was accused of being aggressive, disrespectful, causing trauma and harm to someone else in the community and various spots around the community, what would your stance be? How would you have responded? Would you align yourself with us to ask that person to relinquish their seat so that someone that can handle themselves would not behave in the same manner? And please answer that honestly. And once you come up with the right answer, I want you to consider just sitting with us and let us come to the right solution together. Because this thing has to work, but we all have to work together without causing harm to others.
Thank you very much. And no other public comments? Okay, all right. That being said, we'll go ahead and we will close public comment.
Oh, I think, yeah.
Oh, do we have one more?
Yeah,
No,
hello
please,
everybody. My name
please
is,
state your name for us, please.
yeah, my name is Bernardo Quintero. Yeah, I mean, I came a little late and I'm sure things have been said, but just to echo the calls, I mean, me and David have, similar to Tamaz, we've bounced ideas off each other, we've collaborated, we've talked, and throughout the last year, there's been certain conversations that I've had with other DCs where I've said, I see a lot of David and myself and David. We push the same way, we agitate the same way, and that was always all right as long as it was towards systemic things, towards electeds, towards different people that had tangible changes, that can make these changes, and standing true to our values. The thing that we didn't align on was the fact that these things started going towards community. And as the letter said, I'm not sure if people have read it, but that's kind of where I draw the line, right? We're elected to serve in these specific roles to be the voice and amplify concerns. And we can't create that distrust with our community members. We're here to serve them. So yeah, similar call for some reflection, and I want to ask for you to step down as well. That's all.
Thank you for your comments. All right. I've got a copy of that letter somewhere. Bear with me, everybody. I apologize for the delay. Did you read it out? No, I think it came from.
For transparency reasons, I'd like to read the letter out loud that was presented to David on December 16th. And it goes, Councilman David Orlikoff, we are writing to formally call for your resignation from your role as District Councilman of the Chicago's 14th Police District, effective no later than January 1st, 2025. This request arises from multiple incidents and allegations of inappropriate behavior, including aggressive and intimidating interactions with community members and comments that have been described as racist, xenophobic, and misogynistic. Some of the undersigned have personally witnessed their use of aggressive language and charged tones in interactions with elected officials and public figures, at times justified through advocacy, while other times unjustified based in reaction. However, it is a far greater concern when such language and demeanor are directed towards the very community members we are elected to serve. As a coalition of progressive leftists and abolitionists, it is imperative that we prioritize creating safe, constructive, and inclusive spaces for our communities. When multiple community groups and individuals reach out to district council members across the city to report abusive behavior, it is our collective responsibility to respond appropriately. Your role on the district council places you at the forefront of accountability and safety efforts. It is therefore critical that you reflect the values of restorative justice and community trust by resigning. You can take an important step towards repairing the harm that has been caused and demonstrate your commitment to these principles. It is our hope that you recognize the significance of this moment, listen to the community's concerns, and take action to rebuild the trust. We stand with our community members and organizations, United Neighbors of the 35th Ward, Chicago Alliance Against Racism and Political Repression, and the Freedom Move Coalition, in urging you to prioritize the safety and well-being of our shared communities by stepping down from your position. Your work has been invaluable to several campaigns, and that cannot negate the cause for your resignation. If your goal is truly to support and uplift others, your efforts do not rely on holding a specific title. Should you choose not to resign by the new year, we intend to join the community members and organizational representatives at the 14th District Council regular meeting on January 4th, 2025, to reiterate our call during recorded public comment. At that time, we will release this letter to the press to ensure transparency in our concerns and advocacy. We hope that this matter can be resolved internally within the community without the need for further external attention. It is essential that we collectively hold ourselves and each other accountable, from the 5th floor and City Hall to the district councils, to uphold the values we champion. We await your response and trust that you will act in the best interest of the community. And then the undersigned are 19 district council members, including myself. And I just want to reiterate, I stand with women, I stand with the Black and brown community. I will always stand with them, and that is why I signed.
All right, and David, my comments here, I'm not gonna relitigate the past issues. I think we've all visited that ad nauseum of where I stand on all this. I do wanna make certain that you get a copy of that letter, so that's there for you. And also, unfortunately, you weren't here last month. We had a gentleman representing the LoSA Center of Hope. Wanted to share that with you because I think the most important aspect of all this this incident or issue or whatever you want to classify it as is that you get right with yourself. I think the biggest travesty about all of this, I think you do great work, but we can't get the confidence of the community behind us, and we're kind of spinning our wheels. I wish you whatever your decision is and wherever life can take you, I wish you the best of luck. That concludes my comments. That being said, do we have any discussions on police accountability, restorative justice, or evidence-based policing?
I have my update.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that. I want to get the discussion aspect out of the way.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess if we want to collect the questions that we gathered in this meeting, we would be willing to receive them. Sure.
Can I read out what we put together?
Yes, of course.
Okay, the important stuff. 911 response times. How many calls does the 14th district receive? When? At what time? And what are the response times? We also want an update on the Oath Keepers in the 14th district, specifically Mike Nowacki. We heard that he's retiring, which is quite an admission of guilt. Why is Nowacki retiring? I want to hear it from the commander's mouth. And the progressive neighbors would like to take some credit for why he got fired, why he retired. That was our pressure. What are you doing to prevent white supremacist associations of police officers in your ranks? I want concrete things. And then, our elected official has been meeting with the commander, and she's refusing to answer questions. Why are you obfuscating and answering questions to an elected official And we demand that you respect our elected officials' authority and answer her questions. We also want data and information around pretextual traffic stops. How many pretextual traffic stops are carried out in the district? When are they happening? Where are they happening? How many officers are assigned to tactical teams? Where are these tactical teams located, and who's on those tactical teams? There's precedent. If we have a 17th district councilor here, and the 17th district council, they have the names of officers on tactical teams, so we should have those names too. And then, how do you relate to Area 5? And can we meet with the head of Area 5 as well? We want to know what your dealings with Area 5 are. And lastly, what are the 14th district's dealings with ICE? We want to concretely know how and if they are working with ICE. We know there's a sanctuary city ordinance, but we still want to know if ICE is contacting the 14th district. So those are our questions.
Anybody else have any questions that they would like for us to bring to Commander Lennis in advance of her meeting? Yes, sir.
Not knowing how this is going to proceed, I would suggest or ask that the focus obviously is on some very important data that we as a community need to know about what's happening in it, but it'd be nice to penetrate through to her as a person, them as a person, and like, how do they feel about members of the Proud Boys being a part of the force that they are associated with? I want to know that. I want that question put to this person as a human.
And I'm trying to make certain we maintain the spirit of your question, because we're going to give these to her in advance so that she's ready for them.
Sure.
She can formulate the
How does she personally feel about being associated with Proud Boys?
You mean as an individual or as
Yeah,
a supervisor?
personally.
Or,
No, her personally, as a human being, in that role, that, you know, they're in a role, but this is a human being just like we are. How does she feel about that? Sorry, she's a she, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Process question. So we're submitting some questions in advance. Are there also going to be questions allowed during the meeting?
We're thinking of setting the agenda to about 7 minutes of introduction with the new deputy chief and the commander, and about 20 minutes for pre-written questions, and then maybe the remainder of 35 minutes would be Q&A.
Okay. Another question. How do you plan on notifying the community outside of this meeting that this meeting on March 4th is happening? I think a lot of people would be interested in such a meeting. And
well, we do have social media presence. I know that.
So you'll be making a post?
We'll be making a post. We also have the very talented staff at CCPSA will help us disseminate that and put out a press release accordingly. Mr. Blackwood is who I was pointing to. He's
you're going to do a press release?
Yeah, we can do a press release for it as well. We can utilize all the functions in our toolkit to make certain it's widely broadcasted.
Thanks.
May I make a recommendation that you also get this included in local alders newsletters?
Yes.
I think that's important.
I'd like to reach out to youth. So maybe going to alternative high schools in the district, like Alicio Campos. I'm in conversation with my project manager on that, on spreading the word, and the older people are definitely on my mind.
Ms. Amy, you had a question?
Now that my question's been
Okay.
asked, I wanted to make sure it was in the alternates and newsletters.
I second everything, the questions you guys put together, and not only aldermen though, I think the state reps, the state senators, the county commissioners, also in their newsletters as well.
So just for visibility, by the way, and I don't mean to cut you off, Mr. Tucker, when we send out the press release, and I say that we're using every available tool that we have to disseminate this, that would be inclusive to the alders, the state reps, basically everyone that has ever heard of City Hall will hear
Good to know.
So, and we also have legal counsel here make certain that he owes me truth. All right, do we have any other questions that we'd like to front load to Commander Linus and or Deputy Chief Betancourt?
Oh, yeah, I've got another one. So we fought really hard to even get the initial meeting. I think it was last summer. I think it took something like 9 months to get that meeting on the books. And now here we are more than 9 months later. I think it would be really great to get a commitment for regular intervals with the community as part of the CCPSA monthly meetings. Build in some accountability is what I'm saying.
Yes.
So you can phrase that in a question. Is she willing to, I don't know, quarterly, biannually?
Well, this may kind of answer some of your question,
Okay.
and it may not be succinct or to your level of satisfaction. I do know that our legal team and CPD and CCPSA, the commission portion, they've been whittling through what we call General Order GO 111. Is that right?
Yes.
To where basically one of the items on that is their involvement with us in these meetings.
Okay.
So I think it started off where it was mandatory, and then it was, okay, well, if the commander can't make it, then certain rank and above has to be there, and then, of course, there was some pushback, like, well, some people aren't comfortable meeting with police there and that sort of thing, so kind of massaging it through the whole process. It still, from my understanding, has not been completely finalized, so.
We voted on it, right?
Oh, well, Mr. Isaacs, please correct me where I'm wrong here.
No
And
problem.
please add some visibility to this.
No problem. And for everyone's awareness, my name's Charlie Isaacs. I work at CCPSA as the Assistant Director. And on Thursday, the Commission held a meeting where they formally voted to approve GO 111.
Okay.
So that policy is now approved. 60-day period has to happen before it's enacted, and it gives the mayor a chance to review, and if the mayor wishes, the mayor can veto it. The provision that Councilor Ron is speaking about is that the order says that commanders and captains should attend all district council public meetings. If they can't, someone from lieutenant rank or above will attend. The district council is allowed to submit in writing a request for a CBD to not be present if there's specific reasons. And then it's up to the commander if they decide to hold their team back. The commander will. The order says that the commander will work with the DC to explore other options, such as sending a non-sworn member of CPD, an officer not in uniform, an officer without an exposed firearm, things like that, because CPD wants to still be able to benefit from learning from the community. So that's basically how it landed and where the language stands right now.
Thank you, Mr. Isaacs. I appreciate the clarity there.
Yeah.
All right, so that being said, and does that, I want to make certain that we address that.
Yeah, I mean, it's always unfortunate when we have to legislate to get people to do their, public duty, but I'm glad to hear that this passed on Thursday, so hooray.
Right. Do we have anything else that we'd like to ask the commander or the deputy?
I can't recall it offhand, but the ordinance that governs the police district councils has intimidation language in it. I would like to ask the commander, how can they use that to perhaps hold the police district councils or people, hold people accountable who do intimidate in relations to the councils.
So I'm trying to maintain the spirit. So how is CPD expected to enforce?
Basically, or how can they, what can they do to give that ordinance some teeth?
All right, just making certain that we're speaking the same dialogue here. Okay. Do we have anything else for the commander or the deputy chief for our next meeting? This isn't your one-stop shop. Like I said, we're gonna have an email option available for everybody. We'll put that out through our channels as well. You can throw something on some of the social media if you follow us. I strongly encourage you that you do. We are building the contact list here. We can reach out to you individually if you want that as well. Am I missing anything?
For your police accountability, Charlie, did you want to say something?
Yeah, is that okay? Just one other thought that I had. The order that was passed, if you wanted to review it yourself, it's all online on our website. on the commission's policy commission. The other thing is there's a mention about the retaliation clause. That is enforced by the Inspector General's office. And it can also be, I think, enforced by the State Attorney's office. So I'm not exactly sure what the role of CPD is, but you can send complaints to OIG about retaliation.
Okay, thank you, that's good to know. Thank you for calling that.
For police accountability, thank you, Charlie. For accountability purposes, I attended, it was really challenging to get the March 4th meeting. But initially, I met with the commander with a constituent, with Sally Hammond. And Sally, would you want to talk about our experience?
I think we kind of captured it. She
did,
really
yeah.
wasn't willing to answer questions. It was, I don't know, I can't talk about this. Check the website, the police website. I mean, those were her answers to all of our questions. And the questions were similar to the ones people are asking for right now. So I'm hoping that she will come to this meeting prepared to really answer some questions.
Yes. Thank you.
Councilor Orlikoff, do you have anything with police accountability?
Yes. Some was mentioned, for an update related to our priority to end pretextual traffic stops. So, you know, one of the, or I would say the number one priority identified, you know, over the last few years in this work, in this district has been to create policy to end pretextual traffic stops, which is a continuation of the racist stop and frisk practice, which is also a huge waste of resources. So yeah, I'll give an update on that. It was identified as a top priority. We had speakers from Free to Move present, and it was received very highly. It discussed at multiple meetings, leading to this council taking a vote to endorse policy to end pretextual traffic stops. When I also conducted an ongoing survey of residents related to police activities, consistently the highest delta or difference, it's two questions. What do you think the police are spending their time on? What do you think they should be spending their time on? The largest difference is between people believing that the police are currently spending a lot of time on traffic stops, but that isn't the priority that they want them to see. So through all of the work that we've done in the last few years, it has been the top priority to try to get this policy passed, which is why I've been working on it so hard. Unfortunately, despite twice being handed a legislative mandate to pursue policy to end pretextual traffic stops, first when the community turned in over 2,400 petition signatures, and next when district councilors voted to make ending pretextual traffic stops a 2025 commission priority, which it is officially, the CCPSA under President Anthony Driver is reportedly still blocking any policy progress. So it is my responsibility to bring to light his conduct, no matter the consequences to myself. The Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability has the jurisdiction to write all CPD general orders except for policies explicitly within the consent decree. So initially it raised red flags when Superintendent Snelling, chosen by Driver, publicly pushed to take traffic stop policy out of CCPSA's hands and place it within that consent decree, which has boasts a completion rate of 1% per year, which is less than a 20th of its prescribed pace. It's supposed to be done by now, and it's at 7%. This led community stakeholders and members of the Attorney General's office to request on September 21st, 2023, that the independent monitor not include traffic stop policy in the consent decree, in order for the commission to be able to pass the policy directly. Following that, Commission President Driver has rebuffed every request from community and the Attorney General's office to provide a timeline or any progress updates on the policy. Under his leadership, the CCPSA outright ignored the Attorney General's office for over 6 months. Finally, it was only after video of Dexter Reed's unjustifiable killing was released and Driver was still not communicating or acting that the Attorney General's office concluded that the CCPSA was not being responsible with the policy and began preparations to include it within the consent decree. At that time, President Driver began asking the CCPSA to be granted special policymaking privileges over traffic stops within the consent decree, despite not having discussed that with anyone in the community or the consent decree stakeholders previously. Now, another 8 months later, the policy has not even begun its inclusion in the consent decree due to President Driver's obstruction and unwillingness to follow the clear legislative mandate that he has been given. According to the Attorney General's office and other commissioners, the Attorney General is demanding as a prerequisite for any policy related to traffic stops in the consent decree to explicitly include a 3-point policy platform that ends pretextual traffic stops. So to have stage 1 of the consent decree, you outline the goals, and the Attorney General has taken the community's demand, the same demand passed by this council, as a prerequisite to begin the policy process in the consent decree. And the reason that nothing has happened in over, I guess, 9 or 10 months now is because Anthony Driver is at a standstill with the Attorney General, and he is saying, no, I will not include ending pretextual traffic stops as the initial goal for moving this into the consent decree. This has been reported to Freedom Move Coalition for the last 6 months, as I said, by commissioners and the Attorney General. So what Commissioner President Driver is instead demanding is that he be given sole discretion over crafting traffic stop policy however he sees fit, despite the fact that he was given a legal mandate twice already from the community and currently from the district councils as a 2025 commission priority, not to investigate the issue, but to pass policy to end pretextual traffic stops. We do not need to investigate anymore. This has been decided multiple times already. In addition, it's come to our attention that Anthony Driver has placed Commissioner Sandra Wortham, head of the Police Memorial Foundation, who openly opposes the idea of community oversight in public meetings. She says so, that no community members, no civilians should be in charge of police in any aspect. He has placed her to the consent decree working group. So should it go into the consent decree, she will be the one crafting that policy. That is not acceptable. Driver has consistently acted to increase his own power and standing at the expense of the community at large, and especially those most victimized by CPD. That's the traffic stop update.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Okay, I'd like to take it back a little bit and kind of like bring up what public comment was said, and I'd like to take it back a little bit.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
You don't know what
okay,
I
well,
mean?
let's hit the pause button on that. Okay, let's get through our discussions. We're getting a little short on time here, but we'll touch that in a second.
I just think that.
I'm in support of addressing what was raised in
Yeah.
public
Or-
comment.
I think we're doing
Quick,
public comment.
well,
I'm not. I've asked.
we're gonna get there. I assure you we'll get there. Okay, let's get through our discussion bullets, and then we'll touch on that in just a second. Anything on restorative justice to report? Council Vargas?
No.
Council Willicott?
I attended the Joyce Foundation webinar presenting findings from the Chicago CARES Alternative Response Pilot on January 28th. And I believe that materials related to that, including slides and other reports, should be available if you have any interest in it. So the CARES Alternative Response Program is still a very small pilot in Chicago, but it's an alternative to police to respond to different situations, so they can send caseworkers, etc. It started as a co-responder with police as well, but it's shifting away from co-responding, so it's an alternative response program. And the key finding is that people's fears that you'll call people and then something happens where you wish a cop had been there. That happened in 0% of cases, and arrests or any use of police force was well under 1% of all cases. But I believe there were 0 out of control incidents that happened.
I'm sorry, I just don't think we're in a space where we can receive information from you.
Why are you yelling at me? This is
I'm
the
not
chair.
yelling.
Order.
I asked to give my update and was told by the chair
Please
that would
please
happen
continue.
after this discussion. So stop addressing me directly.
Please continue.
Address the chair if you'd like to discuss the format of the agenda. That was the end.
All right, do we have anything on evidence-based police approaches to public community safety? Council
Other
Vargas?
than the March 4th date, I think that we can ask the commander nitty-gritty questions and really get a better understanding of the relationship between the commander and her boss, the Area 5 Deputy Chief.
Thank you, Councilor Vargas. Councilor Orlikoff, anything on that
No.
minutes page, please? Okay. All right, did you have any updates other than what you shared already?
Yes.
All right, let's get those out of the way.
All right, this is very uncomfortable. I will do my best to be clear and concise. I'm feeling tense and upset, I suppose. First, I want to say that we all want to feel safe, and we probably all have not felt safe at different points. Next, I'd like to say that, and I'm responding to the public comments and the letters and calls for my resignation. This is definitely not what accountability looks like. Accountability does not look like passing along accountability does not look like taking assumptions based on hearsay as fact and then passing ultimatums along with no communication.
So everyone in this room is lying.
Please, please.
In terms of the movement versus me, as I've said, I would love to step down if there are any of you interested in this position.
I'll take your position. Leslie will take your position.
Leslie cannot take
You
this
don't. You
position.
can't speak for Leslie.
Okay, please, order. Okay, this is not the time where you can solicit a replacement.
I have spent
We can find
the
you a
entire time that before campaigning and that I've been in office, looking for replacements. Not necessarily for resigning, but for originally, I never wanted to run. Okay, please don't allow people to interrupt me at this time. Thank you. I did not. Okay. Sorry. I did not wish to run for this position for a variety of reasons, not least of which was the predictable emergence of a range of disagreements between allies on how best to pursue common goals and the likely resulting disaffection between them. Another reason I did not wish to run was the self-knowledge that while I am willing to adjust tactical approaches to achieve shared goals, I am unwilling to compromise on the need to hold policymakers accountable when they obstruct in bad faith the community's clear mandate for progress. The way that I came to be in this position was first by asking Carper, who has been fighting for community controlled police for the longest time, and Carlos Ramirez Rosa, the chief sponsor for CPAC and PCPS, and Alderman here, who is running. And my intention was only to do some canvassing or get a sticker or a sign. There were two people that Carlos hoped would do it that both could not do it, and Carper had no candidates, so I became the candidate. And I asked the people who did try to speak with me. Not everybody has spoken with me, but some certainly have, and I've told them all the same thing. The only people who have been willing to do this are members of the Illinois Libertarian Party or Trump supporters who already tried to give themselves the position and supplant the duly elected council. As we know that the executive director of the CCPSA had to personally intervene because the 32nd Ward, in collaboration with Whistler Rod and Adam Burke, was placing a quote, community committee for public safety and accountability, next to the 19th Police District Council, while ignoring the elected 14th District Council. So, in all of, every person that I've talked to, including the ones asking me to resign, I've asked, is there anybody who you know that is for pro-police accountability that has been willing to take this role on? The answer has always been no. I'm not finished. Sorry, we'll take another few minutes. So, and quite literally, that is the only reason that I'm still here, is because I am not aware of even a single person who is actually willing to do this. What work do you do?
Please.
So then moving on, what I do need to address some of the personal attacks made against me, because of the nature of the absurd allegations. I already said a lot about Commissioner and President Driver. He is the driving force behind attacks against me, and it is because I have tried to hold him accountable, and that is undeniable. And I also receive messages frequently from people in support of my efforts to hold him accountable and to pass policy to end pretextual traffic stops. I did meet with a few counselors who presented me with a letter before the January District Council meeting. I was, at the time, sorry, distracted by that. I was open to, because, you know, doing this is stressful, it's not fun, and it's not something that I'm not a politician, I will never be a politician, and I don't want to be a politician. You know, and I know that a lot of things are a challenge for me, and I can react emotionally after I've been attacked. So it would certainly be easier not to have to be in that position. And I really, I think that I would have been happy to engage in an honest discussion, which it almost seemed to be at first, about how to transition or move forward, but it quickly became obvious that that was not the concern of the people bringing the call against me. Because when I asked how would the replacement happen, there was literally no plan. And the initial, request just to start thinking about that before rushing to saying you have to resign was immediately not met. Furthermore, I know that a number of the people said to be included were not actually included in any of the discussions, including about how the transition should happen. Many of the people who signed the letter told me that they thought that the timeline was not fair. Furthermore, multiple people supposedly on the letter had their names forged. I spoke with district councilors who support me, who do not want me to resign, whose name was improperly forged onto the document, as well as the Free to Move Coalition's name was placed on the document improperly. I reached out to them and asked if they wanted me to resign, and even just based on image having nothing to do with substance, it was something that I was willing to do. The people I spoke to told me they did not want me to resign, but they asked if they could have a meeting with me in the future. They were not able to have that meeting with me until after January 4th, so I was unable to resign before January 4th. I expressed concerns about the inaccuracy and dishonesty within the letter and the calls, and was met with, derision, I suppose. So, right, I said that there was an issue with the honesty and dishonesty, and I was told that doesn't matter. It's been made extremely clear to me that this is a personal goal. The people pushing this have a personal goal to attack me, and that's their goal. Their goal is not to serve the movement in the best way, or to get any policy outcome or pro-police accountability. Their goal is singular, and that's why it's an ultimatum based largely on lies and distrust. So that's about that. Additionally, President Driver has forwarded me emails from Mr. Tucker, and then lied about it in front of Free to Move at a commission hearing where he, accosted me in public.
This isn't open, there's indicted.
I mean, it is. I was indicted here publicly multiple times, so I'm going to defend myself. So next, it does not make me a racist to criticize Kamala Harris when she is committing a genocide. And anybody who believes that, that's your belief, and I do not care.
We call black women Nazis.
Committing a genocide makes you a Nazi. That's the definition of a
There are a
Nazi.
lot of other words to use.
What about when you genocide black?
Why don't you care about genocide instead of the words that someone is using to call out a genocide?
Right, please direct your questions, your comments here.
If anybody believes that I'm a racist because I called out Kamala Harris for committing genocide, that's your right to believe that. However, stop interrupting me. However, it is your fault that she lost because you chose to throw attacks at the people holding her accountable. That is the reason that she lost. It is your fault
We're part
that
of
she
people
lost.
holding her accountable.
Please, I'm gonna call for order.
We're
Stop
talking about
interrupting
you.
me.
Are you complete?
No,
Could you please wrap it up?
I can try.
Please refrain from commenting.
Will you open public comment after this?
No.
I asked him.
We'll give you an opportunity to respond.
Thank you.
Please continue, Councilor Orlikoff.
When I saw a person here today, I became triggered from the worst period in my life when I was most close to death at the hands of my rapist abuser with the assistance of Leslie in this room.
This is not a thing to indict people.
I was called a bunch of slanderous things that require a response. There is no way to let those false allegations go. If I knew that taking this position would mean that I would have to be addressing this in this way, I probably would not have done it. But now this is where we are, and I don't have a choice but to address it. I've been told by many people that, not by many people, I've heard from a few people that believing women, all women, is an important virtue, and I'm here to say that you can either believe all women or you can support victims, but you cannot do both. To believe that all women are incapable of causing harm and are always victims is to be a biological fascist. No.
Could you please summarize?
You need to stop. No. You need to stop.
I second summarizing your point.
I am summarizing the point that I was a victim of rape and I was almost murdered by an abuser.
That is not for public digestion in this forum.
Neither were any of the public comments. Please stop interrupting me now. Please stop interrupting me. Are you going to allow me to speak or not?
Are you going to summarize it so we can get to the end of this?
It was just said that I shouldn't be responding to this. This is the end of this. I have to say it. You have to stop interrupting me. Okay, I need some support to come up here with me to finish this, please.
No.
Yes.
No.
Stop.
You need to go out there and get your support, that's perfectly fine. We're not gonna have people approach here, we've got business to conduct. And I'm very sympathetic.
What other business is there? Didn't we finish everything else?
No, we still have to adjourn.
Yeah.
Right. Plus we,
Respond to this.
right. So if you need.
I need to respond before you can respond to me.
Take
I
as much
haven't
time as you
responded.
want, I don't set the time.
All right, please land the plane.
In order to finish, I need no interruptions
Okay,
from
how much time,
anybody.
how much time do you need? Because you've already taken 20 minutes.
We all have a little timer.
I've got other items to take care of myself today.
What other items? You said adjourn was the last thing. What other? Then stop
You're
interrupting
on
me.
your timer, put your timer on.
Okay, please, if you can support me, please come up here. Mom. Bring your chair. You don't want a chair?
I think I don't.
Jesus Christ. Okay, please stop interrupting me. I'll do that as soon as I can. In 2015, I had a roommate who ended her own life in a very dramatic fashion. That I was partially present for, tried to assist. And after that time, I was not protecting myself. I was not concerned with my own well-being. And sometime later, I met a woman through dating apps who said that she had no money and was unable to feed herself or her cats or get medicine, and that they were all going to die. And we started dating, and she revealed to me that she is a radical feminist, which at first sounded cool, but to her, she calls the term TERF a slur, but she is very specifically a trans-exclusive radical feminist as well as a sex work-exclusive radical feminist. Rad fem is how they like to self-identify. TERF is what people typically refer to them as. Hannah would attack me physically often. Prior to that, she used threats of suicide and acts of suicide to control me to get what she wanted. She had an insulin pump, and she would threaten to and carry out injecting 20 to 50 units of insulin, more than enough to murder someone much larger than her. And she did that after I told her about my roommate killing herself and how I felt that it was my responsibility to try to look out for other people. So Hannah...
Turn on that timer. This is taking too long.
Please summarize.
Then let us talk longer after this.
I broke up with Hannah, and she was pounding on the door, and Leslie let her in.
Point of order?
Yes.
Can we open it up for public comment? I think it's time we
No.
wrap this up. We gotta go.
I do need you to wrap this up.
We already had public comment.
I need you to wrap this up.
more.
You're speaking about me specifically. I would like to.
You
at
spoke
least-
about me specifically.
All right.
Of course I spoke
All
about
right,
you
if we
specifically.
can't
because I'm
maintain
concerned.
order, we will adjourn this meeting.
When I was bleeding from Hannah attacking me, I tried to tell Leslie and she said she did not care. She said, I don't care, I want you to stop yelling. It is true that I yelled and that nobody enjoyed that. What I told Hannah was to please leave me alone in my room, and what Hannah told me was, no, if you don't have sex with me, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to kill you.
Alright.
I have text messages from her saying that.
This is getting a little bit
Yes, it
personal.
was inappropriate for all of these people to come here and slander me on behalf of my rapist
Position.
behavior. The reason that, stop, please stop. Okay. I was a victim from a horrible, biological fascist, rapist abuser who attacked me frequently, who tried to kick me out of the third floor window, who tried to control me completely, and it's not okay.
Okay. Councilor Orlikoff, I much appreciate your updates and your inputs. This has gotten to a personal level, which is making me feel uncomfortable, especially while we're here to conduct business.
It was personal
I
at the
ask
beginning.
that you address your concerns on your own time. That being said, it looks like we've lost order here, so we're gonna wrap it up. Unfortunately, we're on to response. However, what I will wrap up with is,
I think
That
they
is
should be able
wrong.
to respond.
That is wrong.
Chris, I think they should be able to respond to that.
okay,
You did not listen to me.
I'm gonna summarize, I'm gonna ask that we get one person to summarize it in 60 seconds.
Do you understand how harmful that is? He could speak for
I
so long.
understand
These
that.
are,
We have business to conduct, and we're not gonna make this a
Who
personal.
is in
meeting.
support of her
I
getting
just
her
need
chances?
They should
someone
have more time.
to summarize it.
They should get time.
To respond. Thank
All right.
you.
2 minutes, please.
Thank you. First of all, I think we all deserve better than to be gaslit for so long. Please, just, it's inappropriate. Yes, I am here to speak on a history of abuse that I personally have witnessed. I'm not here to name that person or to go into details about like this, that, who said this, what did this happen. Like, I'm here to say I have evidence. I have witnessed things. I do. And I am not trying to bring up direct examples in a way of like dragging out something that happened. I'm just here to say that from personal experience, I know how this derails. We are watching this derail right now. This is something much deeper than what is going on here in public. This is also happening in your personal life. And for that reason, I think that the primary goal here should be to seek a therapeutic setting to work on these things. Whether that is you being a victim, me being a victim, other people being victims, you need to look past that and look at the harm, look at the issues going on that so many of us have observed that we are bringing up, but also in your personal life, these things that are clearly still bothering you, or else why would you speak about it so much? Go to therapy. Go to therapy. This is not the right place to be trying to act out on, just
Resign.
Just resign. Just resign. Just
All
resign.
right, order.
can I please say something after this?
Yes.
Can I please say something? Thank you. I feel that multiple times, when I approached you, David, and asked, why did you yell at a fellow organizer, you proceeded to call me a psycho bitch instead of
That's a
engaging
lie.
with me. That's
That's
not
a
a lie.
lie.
Oh my god, so many people heard
I
it.
called you a psycho, I didn't.
All right.
You said psycho bitch
Order.
over and over again. You
Order.
multiple times.
You're a liar.
I'm not a
Council
liar.
Vargas.
Can I
I'd like
please
to call
finish?
it adjourned.
Please go
Motion
Please let
to
me
adjourn.
The
finish.
letter calling for your resignation and the attempts to call out the harm that you have made in community and in organizing spaces was an attempt to avoid bringing up your personal life. We have been forced to bring up your personal life because you are not listening. You don't seem to think that the harm that you make and that you cause in
Call to
community
adjourn.
spaces,
Motion to adjourn.
No.
you don't think that that's enough. And so other people have been forced to bring up personal domestic harm because you are not listening.
That I experienced.
Okay,
That you enacted.
No.
all right.
Okay.
You called me a psycho bitch over and over
All right,
again.
all right,
Yes,
all
you
right.
did.
This sounds more like a briefing question. Council
Excuse
Vargas,
me?
do you have any?
No.
Okay, no, I'm not being dismissive, I'm just saying, doesn't seem
That
like.
was dismissive.
No, it sounds like a briefing question that you would ask one-on-one, not.
I've asked him do you think I'm safe to ask him questions one-on-one? Do you think I'm safe to ask him questions one-on-one?
What I'm saying is, does it have anything to do with the business?
Yes, because the business
All right.
here is the role of the district counselor, and someone needs to resign.
Okay, I second, I third, and I fourth, you resigning, David.
All right.
I think that you're not the savior of traffic stops, and we can do it without you. And
All of us do that shit.
All right.
Not just you, dude.
In closing, I'm gonna go ahead and say that, should you resign, it's your decision and your decision alone. I think, there's been many of pros and cons, people, that oppose the item and people that strongly support the item. That's your decision to make. If you are interested in tendering your resignation, you know to reach out to, our legal counsel, Charlie Isaacs at the CCPSA. I do encourage you to look into, something to figure yourself and check out. I strongly, as contrary as it may sound, I really am concerned about you, and I hope that, you come out of this okay. That being said, we're gonna go ahead and call, adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
Time now is 2:35.